Toby, I need to get this information to you fast, so I can't give it to you in a call. There's this weird van outside that says not Nintendo on the side. Now, I might be crazy, but I think that's Nintendo. They are listening. I've gotten too close to the answer, so I'm just going to record my thoughts and then get out of here. If this is the last thing you hear from me, know that I am probably dead. Alright. So, the Aether Foundation and Ultra Beasts. First, let's recap what Aether is. It's the fifth element in alchemy. You have earth, air, water, fire, and ether, which is also known as soul, spirit energy, life, and even heaven. If you put the Aether Foundation's logo over the alchemic symbol for Aether, it also lines up pretty well. And speaking of all those elements, Alola lines up with it too. We have this first island, covered in rocky canyons, it's Earth. The next one with more water than the other three and even a waterfall, it's water. And next with hot springs, whatever these are, but more importantly the active volcano, fire. And this one with constant rain from the sky, and two mountains that go above the clouds, air. And in the middle is the artificial island belonging to the Aether Foundation, Aether. And on the topic of Alola, this region is perfect for the Aether Foundation to be based in, because according to alchemy and many other forms of mysticism, the Earth has its own Aether, its own spirit energy, its own soul, and it is located in the Black Sun, which is the core of the Earth. Magma is the blood of the Earth, and volcanoes, which are extremely famous for being in Hawaii, are access points to the Earth's soul, the Earth's Aether. And look at the symbol of the Earth's soul, or the Black Sun. It's similar to the Aether Foundation's logo, kinda. Just like these glowy bits on Reshiram and Zekrom, who supposedly helped create the Unova region. And how do you create land masses? With magma from the Earth's core. And while on the topic of creation and Alola, again, being based in Hawaii is beyond perfect. Hawaiian creation mythology is very unique. Unlike in Greek, Roman, Egyptian, and most other common mythologies that state that the universe was created by chaos or some god figure, Hawaiian mythology states that there was a previous Earth and a previous cosmos before ours, a different universe, and that one ended, and when it died, it expanded again and gave birth to ours. Exactly what I've been proposing what Sun and Moon might do, and in that Hawaiian creation myth, there was only one survivor from the previous universe. Octopi. That's weird. But if there ends up being an octopus Ultra Beast... So what are the Ultra Beasts then? There are many theories floating around, the popular one being that they are these three. These three do look related. And a side note, take a look at this symbol. And these two undoubtedly are similar, especially since these two share some interesting official description. Its movements resemble those of a young girl, and a mysterious girl that will play an important role in the story. And with the poses that these two make, the link is now pretty uncanny. But how does UB02 absorption link with Gladion? Well, Gladion does have torn up clothes, which would make sense if you Hulk out all the time. Also, if you were this giant mosquito trying to fit into a small human body, you'd have Parkinson's too. All three of these people, Lily, Gladion, and Lucimin, dislike Pokemon fighting. Lily's official description states this. Lucimin is the president of the Aether Foundation, whose goal is to help and protect Pokemon from any and every world, and Gladion is tricky, though he does state that battling him will needlessly get your Pokemon hurt, meaning he still does battle, but sees it as a necessary evil and would prefer not to when it's an option. And this goes along perfectly with his name origin. The name Gladion comes from the gladiolus flower, which, in the language of flowers, symbolizes moral integrity, a battle with morality, and always trying to do things as you see right, even if it's just the lesser of two evils. And I've mentioned Lily's name origin before, but her flower name symbolizes feminine beauty and lunar forces, the moon. And Lucamine gets her name from balsamine, which symbolizes motherly care and healing, as well as impatience, wanting things to get done now rather than later, even if it's something that really should take its time. Meaning, yeah, the popular idea that she and the Aether Foundation are the real bad guys, that's probably true. She only wants what's best for Pokemon, but she wants it now. She is impatient and does not care about the countless others she hurts along the way. The greater good, you know? At least from her perspective. And now, assuming these characters are the Ultra Beasts in disguise, well, that just fits all the greater. Outlining UB02 Beauty's hair in any way makes this, which is the symbol of the great mother goddess, the Yoni. Various ancients had various versions of this, but many would pass others through the statues to symbolize baptismal rebirth. They would be spiritually born again. And while we are here, Faba and Wicca both get their names from the Vicia Faba. Vicia, or vetch, is a genus of flowering plants that can also produce beans when you specify the Faba order. The vetch symbolize fidelity, or unwavering loyalty and faith into another, usually a leader or a spouse. And the Faba beans have a unique history. They were one of the very first plants cultivated by humans, and eventually, among other beans and plants, became a staple of early Middle Eastern farming. The plants would grow a white and purple flower that would turn into green beans, and then would turn into a dark reddish maroony color. What gets really interesting, though, is that these beans are toxic to most of the animal kingdom. Humans are one of a few beings that are capable of eating it. And this is because of a toxin known as leucoagglutinin, which looks like this. Maybe that's a stretch. Maybe not. Maybe the Aether Foundation is a danger to Pokemon because of their connection to Arceus. Remember, in alchemy, the Arceus is the border between our physical universe and heaven, or the Aether universe. And looking at the fashion choices of the Aether Foundation, they are choosing similar colors and design elements to Arceus, white and gold with spiky bits and such. Now, what if the reason they are gathering up Pokemon isn't to protect them from Team Skull, but rather to experiment on them, or to prepare them to take them to their own universe? Or at the very least, what if they are mainly after the starter Pokemon, to make their own Arceus? More on that later. Something I find super awesome is that the Ultra Beasts are based on extremely successful, globe-dominating invasive species. The mosquito is the deadliest animal on the globe, and they are everywhere. Though native to only a few areas, they have succeeded as a species and have invaded the globe. Next we have jellyfish. Also very successful creatures. Some jellyfish are completely immortal, and they too have dominated the world's oceans, slowly drifting all over to the point of dominance, invading the surrounding waters. As for Ultra Beast Beauty, there is some discrepancy on what she is. The popular assumption is a cockroach, which also goes along with this theme. Cockroaches are also all over the globe, and are deadly and invasive. But I'm significantly more convinced that she is a copepod. Copepods are also all over the globe. They have spread to every ocean and have even adapted to begin taking over freshwater areas such as swamps and even sewers, rivers, and some lakes. And them invading the Alola region, a place based on Hawaii, is perfect. Hawaii is full of invasive species. A massive chunk of its ecosystem is non-native. And another thing to note is that all of these animals' populations are growing rapidly due to global warming, meaning thanks to man, they will only get more and more invasive. The relationship humans have with these animals is a strong one, whether we like it or not. And now, what is the opposite of a globe-dominating invasive species? A very endangered species losing habitat. What if I told you that this is what the starters are based on? Now, I know what you're thinking. A sea lion, an owl, and a cat? And a dog, throwing in the equally important Rockruff into there too? Endangered? Am I stupid? But hear me out. Let's look specifically at Hawaiian and other Pacific Island species of these animals. First, we could say that Rowlet is based on the pueo, a Hawaiian owl that is indeed endangered. Next, we have the Hawaiian monk seal. one of 2 mammals endemic to Hawaii and also very endangered. And I know Poplio is a sea lion, not a seal, but Squirtle goes from being a turtle to a tortoise. A sea lion can evolve into a seal. Litten, then, could be the Iramoda cat, which look very much like house cats, hence Litten's design. But they are not house cats, they are in fact critically endangered mini leopards. And lastly, Rockruff. It could be based on the Hawaiian poi dog, which is often associated with rocks and the ground as it likes digging and eating taro roots. This specific breed of dog is actually extinct today, and all of these animals are endangered due to human involvement. Loss of habitat due to humans taking it over, or humans interbreeding it to the point of extinction. In Pokemon, we could draw similar conclusions. Why would these be endangered or rare? Perhaps because people are after them. Alola is described as a region full of super rare Pokemon. Team Skull could be after them to fund themselves, doing whatever it is they may be up to. And the Aether Foundation come in claiming to be after the same Pokemon just to be able to save them from Team Skull. But if the Aether Foundation also has less than wholesome motives, like most people are assuming, they may be after rare Pokemon like the starters and Rockruff to do experimentations on them. Experimentations like creating the Philosopher's Stone Pokemon, Type Null, which, as we've established, is made up of the starters and Rockruff. And by the way, Type Null without the Arceus symbol helmet becomes Silvally, or Silvally, with its RKS system, allowing it to have multiple types depending on the item it holds. Exactly like Arceus. RKS. Not to mention it's white. You'd be hard-pressed to say that Type Null is not an attempt at creating Arceus. And by the way, that symbol on Type Null's helmet breaking off and revealing its true power, I'm sure is also a prelude to what will happen in the Gen 4 remakes, as Arceus breaks free of its own binding that it may have put on itself. Don't want to sneeze and accidentally destroy the universe or anything, but if there is a threat to the universe ending, it has every reason to take it off, as Primal Arceus. Anyway, looking at Type Null from the front gives you a few interesting designs, a broken Arceus symbol for one, but also the Aether Foundation symbol above it. And remember, the Arceus is the border between our world and the Aether above, meaning the Aether Foundation is above Arceus. And if the Aether Foundation are indeed the Ultra Beasts, then that is potentially true. Arceus is only the god figure within this Pokemon universe. That doesn't exactly apply to whatever universe the Ultra Beasts come from. Now, this is just a hunch. I don't have much evidence for this guess, but I think the Ultra Beasts are from a higher dimension, like a 4th or 5th dimension, or just a higher frequency of reality. They are aliens, but not from another planet, but from another plane, like the Upside Down or turning a radio up, different wavelengths of reality. Perhaps in this parallel reality, there is no distinction between humans and Pokemon, and I don't mean in these ways, like how we humans are still animals on this earth, just more intelligent and aware, but no, I mean full-on a world where humans and Pokemon are the same thing. No species difference. All the power of high-level Pokemon with all the intelligence and awareness of a human. This would make them chimeras, the alchemic combination of animals. In fact, other translations name them Ultra Chimeras instead of Ultra Beasts. In fact, UB01's description, its body is composed of a glass-like substance. I've read that somewhere. Yes, artificial life. The alchemist Paracelsus first wrote about how to alchemically make an artificial human a homunculus, and after describing the extremely disturbing process, it states that the end product will look somewhat like a man, but transparent, as well as that it may not have full consciousness and instead run on instinct. Just as UB01's description states. This may be why Ultra Beast 01 is said to be the most important out of all of them. It's artificial life, a homunculus, created by the other Ultra Beasts or the Aether Foundation, which may not even have a distinction. But why would the Aether Foundation want to create life? Perhaps to fill their own universe with it? Maybe. I've mentioned that none of these three like Pokemon battles. Perhaps because they know that when a Pokemon faints, it loses a bit of its life energy. And revives, which share this shape with them and all, restores at least a bit of it. Perhaps the Aether Foundation wants to take all of these Pokemon back to their universe, or reset the universe in order to spare all of these Pokemon from the pain brought by battling. This sounds like a similar goal to Team Plasma, who wanted to make a separate world to separate humans and Pokemon. Team Plasma planned to steal everyone's Pokemon and take them to their new world, but later they were defeated. But Kolrez, the scientist of Team Plasma, he was different. He wasn't with Team Plasma to help them separate people and Pokemon. He was with them for funding his own research and bringing out the power of Pokemon. He is quoted as saying, "Team Plasma said we should recognize the potential in Pokemon and liberate them from humans. I disagree. Conversely, it should be humans who bring out the hidden potential in Pokemon. What I desire is to bring out the entirety in Pokemon potential. If I can accomplish that, I don't care what it takes. If it means the strength must be brought out by the interactions between Pokemon and trainers, then so be it. It's so frustrating. If only we could talk to Pokemon in order to bring out their power." And after Team Plasma's defeat, he stated that next he will work on a device that allows humans and Pokemon to directly communicate. So, Z-moves and the Speaking Rotom Pokedex. Is Kolrez going to be in Sun and Moon? Apparently he was in Kalos in X and Y too, as an NPC mentions him. And if we look at Kolrez's book, is that the Z-Stone symbol? And suns and moons? Kolrez does also have these diamonds on his outfit, and is blue, meaning the 4 primary members of the Aether Foundation are red, blue, green, and yellow. The 4 Gen 1 games. But then, would that make him an Ultra Beast too? Are Faba and Wick even Ultra Beasts? If they are, then that means there's 6 of them. Side note. If there just so happens to be 7 confirmed Ultra Beasts, I'll go crazy for sure. Why? The 7 Angels of Revelation. Aether is heaven, after all, where God and angels reside, but that's just a side note, a hunch. Not that important unless it ends up being true. 7 of them. It doesn't need to happen, but if it does. And of course, the day before I initially planned on uploading this video, data mining has revealed that there are indeed 7 Ultra Beasts. But wait, you say, there are 8. I have eyes, I can see that there are 8. And yes, maybe you'll consider this a leap in logic, but listen. There are 2 different ways we could make this 8 into 7. Firstly, there are 2 UB02s. Meaning if you were to label all of these, you would have 1, 2, another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each UB02 is exclusive to Sun or Moon, meaning in either Sun or Moon there are only 7. Another way you could think of it is if all of these are Ultra Chimeras, and UB01 is actually a homunculus, artificial life, then that means initially there were 7 Ultra Beasts until, during or slightly before the events in Sun and Moon, they created artificial life in UB01. UB01 just happens to have been the first one discovered by the Aether Foundation. Quotes all around that. Now back to the real stuff. So the Aether Foundation is doing a good job at deceiving everybody, right? Everybody sees them as the good guys. Their goal is to save and protect Pokemon from many worlds, but really, in this real world, we all know that they are very likely going to be the bad guys. Why else would they have grunts? And also, being designed vaguely off of Arceus, Pokegod. Just like last time, let's dive into the Bible. In the book of Mark, Jesus explains more signs of the end times, and he says that when the end is near, many will come in his name and deceive the world. Perhaps, to further deceive the world, the Aether Foundation tried to create their own Arceus, to say that, yeah, we're on Arceus's good side, see, he's here with us. But of course, they fail, which also causes Gladion to leave. Oh yeah, Full-on speculation here, but I'm pretty sure Gladion was a member of the Aether Foundation. But since his flower name suggests that he has a high sense of moral integrity, he decided that all of this evil experimentation on Pokemon is wrong, and ultimately, so is the Aether Foundation. So he steals away Type Null out of pity for its suffering, and joins Team Skull, another team that has the power to potentially take down the Aether Foundation. It's his best chance at taking it down. Though he doesn't like battling, he is taking the lesser of two evils, the more moral route. There is the possibility that Team Skull are nothing more than simple thugs, and the obvious references to the alchemic skull within them is just to show that they are rejects. As remember, the alchemic skull symbolizes the rejected material left over from transmutations. But they are still a family, and they still care for one another. And possibly their Pokemon too, very possibly. Gladion sees this as honorable and steers them towards helping him take down the Aether Foundation. Perhaps they steal Pokemon away so that the Aether Foundation can't get to them first. They're both just after Pokemon to protect them from each other. It's a possibility. They may even leave their grunts out of the loop. Their grunts may think that they are just stealing Pokemon for money. Previous evil team leaders left their grunts in the dark too, so that's not a new concept. Though the idea that these people are Ultra Beasts is also just a possibility. Not proven yet, but there is another possibility. That being that Ultra Beasts are just the parallel dimension counterparts of these members. Though, to be honest, that possibility seems less likely. I mean, we already have a parallel dimension in Pokemon, the Distortion World, and it's nothing like the real world. And even the worlds specified in Oraz could be seen as a parallel world. And plus, the name Aether hints at the whole higher plane thing more than a direct parallel universe. Although, while not parallel universes, the multiverse is canon in Pokemon, and the universes that are directly connected are the ones that take place in Oraz and XY with the original game's pre-Mega Evolution. And what if then the Aether or Heaven world the Ultra Beasts may come from is like the foam between the universes? Like, I'll draw a diagram for you. Here is one universe, here is another. In fact, there's a bunch of them, infinite, like a bunch of bubbles. The borders around the universe are the Arceus, but all that space in between the universes, that could be the Aether, Heaven, the spirit world, where Ultra Beasts reside. That would put them outside of the known universe, which does make sense. So, here's the theory. Ultra Beasts love and care for Pokemon all over the multiverse. Either because they are also Pokemon, or just because they see themselves as the caretakers of the multiverse because they are above the physical multiverse, within their Aether realm, higher than even Arceus. So, they either magically or with some sort of machine create a wormhole to the physical universe and disguise themselves as humans to begin meddling with human affairs and eventually found the Aether Foundation and begin trying to convince humans of their holiness by creating their own Arceus, or they were trying to create their own Arceus for the purpose of resetting the physical multiverse. Why? Well, they don't like Pokemon battling. And in just about every universe, humans are battling Pokemon. And since their leader is impatient, rather than persuade humans to stop, she sees the only way to end all the Pokemon suffering is to reset everything. Perhaps saving as many Pokemon as they can along the way, but eventually Gladion dislikes the motives of Lusamine and sees the good in humans and that battling is a method of bonding. Even the supposedly bad gang that is Team Skull have family values and care for one another. Why does Lusamine get to decide the fate of their existence? And so, he leaves, while still trying to hide his Ultra Beast form. But being away from that foundation makes it harder for him, so he gets all shaky. The Aether Foundation, having given up on creating their own Arceus, after failing, possibly repeatedly, decide to instead cause or hold an eclipse in place with your version's legendary, as eclipses summon the real Arceus. And they may try to control this Arceus to have it reset the multiverse for them. Or they may not even be trying to summon Arceus, because his power would outdo them. So, instead, they just hold the eclipse in place for as long as they can, until the wormhole grows too large, the two parallel universes merge, and it destroys both. But, you know, that's just a possibility. Oh, Toby. You're calling me now. That van's getting too close. Next time.
Did you see, did you hear, did you feel anything in the world you're in the world you're in? Brutality, make it one, make it two, make it three times around. And they're suffering, yeah. We're counting down, tick-tock, and the time is running out. No first, let's take it, we'll save your head now. No, we're crashing down, no money that can buy your way out. Go ahead and try it, 'cause you've had your time. We're counting down, tick-tock, and the time is running out. No first class ticket.
4, 3, 2, 1.
We're crashing down, no money that can buy your way out. Go ahead and try it, 'cause you've had your time. Play Where have you been? Did you see, did you hear, did you feel anything in the world you're in the world you're in? Brutality, make it one, make it two, make it three times around. And the suffering, they're suffering.
Ugh, this theory is getting out of hand. I mean, dang it, Loxton, if I hear one more video of this theory... Part 3.8 now? Is this turning into Kingdom Hearts? Listen here, you. Say what you will, but afterwards, I'll be debunking it. And getting the reverb out of my voice.